Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Hakuoki, Kyoto Wins. Today we're beginning on Okita Souji's route. So as usual, we're going to be skipping through previously read materials, which is a lot of stuff, because I don't want to reread the same, 6 or 7 hours worth of material again. And yeah, I'll be showing you the choices as we go along. So you can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. First of all, we have to find a way to escape. And stay where you are. Then go and talk to someone. Oh boy, and here, it's to test my skills. I'll do it because I have to test my skills, which are totally nothing compared to anybody who trains here at all. So, this is to test my skills, right? He likes that ambition.
Seems like you're fast at understanding. Prove you can use your sword, and we may consider taking you out with us on our rounds. If you're so concerned for my safety, then use your scabbard or the back of your blade.
And skipping. As always, quietly return to my room. Stay behind in the headquarters, because that's where our guy is. Give him a chance to tease us a bit. Maybe give us a few death threats. A little while ago, when they tested my swordsmanship, Saito did make that promise. That they'd advise Hijikata to join their rounds. Did I really waste their kind efforts throwing away their promise to get me out? I'm so sorry. You two worked so hard to convince him, and I...
It was actually Hajime that convinced Hijikata. I just stood behind him and nodded lightly.
Even so, I'm sorry. When I see Saito later, I need to apologize and give him my thanks. I can't believe I didn't realize from the start. I feel like I let him down. As I was coming to terms with my decision, Okita stared down upon me blankly.
Oh, but keep in mind, Hajime vouched for your swordsmanship and all that, but your level of swordsmanship won't be much help when you experience what rounds are like.
Well, you guys better protect me well then.
Your type of swordsmanship is what we call dojo swordsmanship, pretty much useless in any real battle.
He was ruthless, but his criticism was spot on, so I was convinced he was right. Now we leave to search for my father. Start going on rounds with Okita. Obviously, we're gonna look for Okita. I decided to look for Okita. I know I caused trouble for him during the noon patrols, but he never called me out for it. It seemed only fair that I try to return the favor.
Gah!
A Ronin came out of nowhere, falling down the stairs and screaming. My kodachi was in my hand before I even realized I'd drawn it. Good instincts. Then, Kondo's sword slid through his heart. I just watched a man die.
What are the rest of our men doing?
He did his best to act calmly, but I could tell my appearance both surprised and worried him.
I'm sorry, but can you see the Souji? He's upstairs with one of these damnable Ronin. I doubt he'll lose, but he could still be hurt. His opponent looks to be a difficult one.
Oh, more difficult than you can imagine. Yes, sir. I nodded quickly and ran off through the carnage. He's upstairs. Hurry. I took them 2 at a time and landed hard on the top floor. It didn't take long to spot him. Kinda hard to miss him. Oh! Only a few feet from me, Okita was battling a Ronin. I felt my stomach lurch. The cold ring of steel against steel tore through the air, and their blades flashed lines of light in the darkness.
You had me wondering how the Shinsengumi were doing. This is the best you can do.
The strange Ronin's eyes narrowed, and his mouth curved into a smug smile. I'd seen Okita train with the soldiers, and his skill with a blade had been clear, but this Ronin... The way he dodged, parried, and slowly drove Okita back seemed almost effortless.
Well, I don't care to waste any more time on you. I'm taking off. Thanks for the dance, chump.
The blood and violence that was choking the inn had no effect on him, it seemed. He was so peaceful, in fact, that he hardly looked like he belonged in the middle of all that carnage.
Sorry, pal, but I can't do that. You're our enemy, so you gotta die.
A smile split his face for half a second, and then he launched himself at the Ronin. Their swords slammed together. To my untrained eye, it looked as though the Ronin was a self-taught swordsman. His sword moved in large, crude arcs, while Okita responded with skill and finesse. In a contest of skill, Okita would have been the clear winner, but as their blades sprang apart, it was always Okita who found himself pushed back. The Ronin's sword was heavy but fast. It was clear he was Okita's superior in raw power. And speed, probably most of all. The summer heat had turned the air thick and humid. I could barely breathe. Sweat poured down my spine and beaded on my face as quickly as I could wipe it off. Decide to distract the Ronin. Nearby, a bowl sat unattended on the floor. If I could use that to distract the Ronin briefly, I could give Okita the opening he needed. With every ounce of strength I had, I hurled the bowl straight at the Ronin.
Oh.
Almost without thinking, he turned his blade and smashed the bowl to the floor. The moment of distraction gave Okita his opening. He leapt forward. Even caught off guard, the Ronin managed to get his blade up in time, but the blow sent him stumbling back a step or two, an angry look on his face. As Okita lifted his sword toward his opponent, he whispered in a voice so only I could hear it. I guess he was happy for that brave action of mine.
Good job, Chizuru.
I knew now wasn't the time to bring it up, but I'm glad I'd been able to help.
Pathetic.
The strange Ronin's sword whipped through the air, little more than a silvery blur. Okita accepted the blow with the sword. However, the opponent's blow from above was too powerful. Okita stumbled ever so slightly, but the man did not miss his opportunity.
Ah!
The Ronin's foot slammed the center of Okita's chest. The source of his tremendous strength apparently extended to his legs as well as his sword arm. I heard a wet crunch as the kick connected, and Okita tumbled across the floor of the room. When he stopped, I saw him grip his chest and cough. "Okita!" I leapt across the room. "Are you all right?" His face was tight with pain. The most he could manage was labored gasps and wet, tearing coughs. Okita was in no condition to fight. As I struggled to move myself under his arm to lift him up, I glared at the strange Ronin.
I don't suppose you mean to kill me as well. Let's have at it. I like watching children squirm.
I watched the tip of his blade drift up to me. With a groan of pain, Okita lifted himself up and stumbled between me and the Ronin. "No, Okita, you can't!" There was a good chance he had broken bones. If he was coughing up blood, then his internal organs could be damaged as well. He could barely stand, let alone fight, and he was making no attempts at hiding it. But he stood firm.
You're fighting me, right? Leave the kid alone.
The Ronin sneered.
What a fool. Just what do you intend to do? You're as good as dead. You can scarcely stand.
Shut up. I've still got some fight left, you bastard.
New flecks of blood appeared as he shouted. "Stop that! You're still coughing up blood!" The Ronin regarded us with cool, disinterested eyes for a few moments, then, in one smooth motion, lifted his sword and slid it into his scabbard. "What?"
The moment this meeting was interrupted, my business here was at an end. That was entertaining, Shinsengumi. However, your swordsmanship was a pathetic display.
His aloofness was amplified by the satisfaction he drew with every word. He placed his foot out of the window, cackling to himself as he jumped through gracefully. Did he just run off? I can't imagine him cackling. No, he hadn't run. He was letting us go.
What a grave insult. Damn it! I can still fight.
Well, sorry, but there's no one to fight. Okita. His voice was weak. Well, why did you do that? Okita turned his head to look at me. You always said you'd kill me if I got in your way. So, why had he protected me? He raised a shaky eyebrow.
Huh. Yeah. Why did I do that?
His words were already slurring.
I'll figure that out later. But I really gotta kill that.
Thump.
Okita? His eyes fluttered and his body folded as he collapsed to the floor. Huh? I'd been so worried about Okita I hadn't noticed. The sounds of screaming men and clattering swords had disappeared. Is it over?
Souji, are you alright?
The moment the words were out of my mouth, I heard the sound of labored footsteps on the stairs. Finally, the sun rose from the black sky. Oh, I guess we can skip now. Alright, so that was the end of the Ikeda incident with Souji. This time I will stay behind. And to the inner courtyard I go. For a midsummer afternoon, the air was pleasant, making the courtyard a pleasant place to sit. He was sitting off in a corner in the shade, gazing up at the summer sky. I turned to look as well. It was a brilliant blue, and a distant breeze pushed white wisps of cloud at both ends. How long was it since I last looked up at the sky? Far too long, I thought, as I stretched my arms up, soaking in the sunshine and cool, clean air. Then at last I turned back to where Okita was, or perhaps had been, sitting. Gone? While I had been enjoying the summer sky, he had approached, and now he was right in front of me. Yes? Huh? My body stiffened, and I felt my eyes widen. He raised a quizzical brow.
You don't need to worry about me. I'm not out here making a plan to escape or something.
Why would you escape? That's not what I'm worried about. True, he didn't seem like he was desperate to leave and join the fight, unlike Keisuke.
Really? Well, that's good, I suppose. You are worried about something, though. Something else.
His mouth twisted into a small smile. I decided to tell him. You're still not in the best condition. It isn't good for you to be out in the cold for too long.
You're worried about my health, then? Thanks. I'll try and stay out of the cold, all right?
Do you really mean it, or are you just placating me? Okita had always seemed a little mean. Until that moment, I would never have thought I'd hear him thank me for worrying about him. I wasn't sure what to say. Both of us appeared to have run out of things to say, and silence fell across the courtyard. It's time for a death threat. I didn't want to scold him and then simply leave for my room, but... there had to be something thoughtful I could say. I hope your injury heals soon. Not that. Okita laid his hand on his chest absently and looked across the courtyard at nothing.
Well, that's not a sword wound, so I'll heal fast enough. I'm fine, is what I'm saying.
He was right, and that should have given him cause for joy, but his face didn't change. He blinked and looked back down at me. Are you, thinking about Sanin? He'd made a point to say you, although he'd left it unsad. I could see he was worrying about the man we both knew wouldn't be fine. Sanin's arm wasn't going to heal, at least not completely. It would never again hold a sword. Okita said nothing. He cocked his head and smiled. I felt my cheeks getting warmer from blushing. Sorry if I was being nosy. I apologized, but he warmed up and shook his head from left to right. I couldn't tell what his intentions were. Okita's smile deepened just a little.
You're a weird one, you know that.
Weird? Maybe I looked upset, but he called me weird. For no reason!
You're really weird. Look, you don't need to worry about me, kid. I wasn't careful enough. There's only one person to blame, and that's me.
What? No, you shouldn't blame yourself. Okita hadn't done anything wrong. He followed his orders and did the best he could. I didn't see how he could say what happened was his fault. When I looked up, his smile was gone, and I couldn't bring myself to say anything more. He glanced down at me, then looked at the sky.
The sky's beautiful today, isn't it?
Yes. The midsummer sun shone down. I felt a breath of warmth in the cool air. White clouds danced across the blue expanse, flying gracefully. Where were the men who'd marched off earlier now, I wondered. We're skipping through that. November 1864. November 1864. Summer turned into autumn, and the Imperialists kept quiet. Despite my regular presence in the Shinsengumi rounds, no news of my father came at the time. Days passed peacefully, one after another. The leaves were dancing on the wind one evening as I busied myself with cleaning. Alright, almost done. Gradually, I'd been given more and more freedom to move around the compound. I was given a few duties to manage, and as long as I was doing them, I could go wherever I needed. On days that I can't go on rounds, I've been helping around at the compound.
Hey, Chizuru, working hard, eh?
Oh, hello. I set down my work and turned toward him. Ah, all three of you.
Well, the sun's almost down, so you should probably call it quits pretty soon.
You're a real hard worker, aren't you? Every time I see you, you're doing something else. Are you on your way out?
Well, yeah, duty calls.
Duty of a different sort. Really? They weren't wearing their uniforms. That meant they weren't going on their rounds. Oh, I get it.
Yep, we're heading out to Shimbara. Don't worry, we'll be back before morning.
We're just going for drinks, alright? That's it. Just drinking. Well, except for Shin. He's totally going for the girls. You tattled on him.
Hey, come on, she didn't need to know that.
So you are?
Ugh. Anyway, you hold down the fort for us, alright? If the commander asks, don't, let him know, okay? Just mix the thing up. Thanks.
Run before you get caught by Gen. What? They left me with a difficult task. Anyway, I need to go finish cleaning up the courtyard. It was almost time for dinner, and I wanted to be done before I had to eat. I was dumping out leaves I'd gathered when... Huh? I could hear some kind of commotion coming from outside of the house. What is that? I quickly put the broom away and hurried toward the entrance. Gathered just inside the front gate were about 10 children. Standing in the middle of them was... Okita!
Oh, hey, Chizuru. Don't see you out here very often.
What are you doing? Who are these children?
Oh, don't worry. I didn't kidnap them or anything. I was bored. Figured they could play with me.
They're entertaining you instead of you entertaining them? I wasn't sure how to respond, but Okita grinned. So, are they all your friends?
Yeah, well, I guess you could say that. They take care of me.
Oh, the kids take care of him. That's cute. Oh. Usually adults play with kids, not the other way around. Although making kids play with him did seem like something Okita would do. Hey kids, get over here and play with me.
So, Chizuru, you want to come play with us?
Oh, no. I shook my head. Is it really okay for you to let children in here?
Well, depends on what you mean by okay. If Hijikata finds us, I'll probably flip his crap.
I think he will.
Asan and I used to know would probably be out here playing with us. But now, I don't think he'd be too happy about it.
And doesn't that mean there's a pretty good chance you're going to get in trouble? He just grinned.
I think the others would probably get pissed too. You're the only one who'd let it slide, I bet.
Then maybe you should send them home before you get caught.
Hey, keep your nose out of our business. We can play where we want.
What?
Yeah, butt out. We're playing with Souji.
You unruly children. It looked like they were awfully fond of him. Could I really just leave them alone, though? That didn't seem right either. You guys need a chaperone. I can't trust him with you. I thought about it for a minute before I spoke. This is the headquarters of the Shinsengumi. It's a place for men to do, work. You really shouldn't be playing here.
Why? Souji's part of the Shinsengumi, and he's playing with us. So what's the big deal?
No, but that's because they're out on patrol. They're catching bad guys and keeping Kyoto safe.
No, they're not. They're just killing people.
Can't deny that. Sometimes people don't do what they're supposed to do. So, every so often, we gotta off someone. But it's not like we just kill people for fun.
I wasn't sure what to make of his smile. He's always talking about killing people. I probably hear him talk about death every day. To be honest, I didn't have any idea how he really feels about it. Is killing people a big deal for him, or is it just something he does?
The Shinsengumi are a bunch of weirdos. Why should they get to order us around?
You might have a point. I guess you've got a point. I had to admit, he was a little convincing. I don't think they're bad people, but they are kind of rough, I guess.
See? Besides, my dad told me that the Shinsengumi guys are always going to Shibara. How about that?
Well, some of them are there right now. Based on what happened earlier, I couldn't deny that. Among the Shinsengumi, there are a few exemplary people, but I guess from the outside, they just know how to attract trouble.
Wait, Chizuru, don't tell me you're taking them seriously.
Well, I mean, the Shinsengumi is taking really good care of me. It feels wrong not to stick up for them, but...
What, because they keep bringing up valid points and you can't figure out a good comeback?
Yes. Oh, you think that's cute, huh?
Oh, Chizuru, you're way too honest to live here.
You don't have to laugh at me.
And you don't need to get so bent out of shape about it. I'm just teasing you. To be honest, I totally agree. I'm with the Shinsengumi 100%. But I sure can't blame people if they get the wrong idea about us.
I had to wonder if it was really okay for him to say things like that in public. He didn't seem to care at all, but that just made me more worried.
See? Even Souji says they're a bunch of bad people, right?
That's not what he said. No, that's not it at all. Try as I might, I couldn't just ignore them, even if they were children. Yes, I know a lot of them seem kind of scary, but they're really not bad people.
Oh, come on! How can a scary person be a good person? They all look like bad guys.
I don't think so.
Well, what about Hijikana? He always looks so serious. I'm not sure he knows how not to frown. Or, hey, Sonnen, he looks pretty scary when he's not smiling.
Well, yes, but... He was siding with the children. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Well, I can't say they're not scary, but, I was out of ideas. Kondo, the chief of the Shinsengumi, he's really nice. He's a good person. He wasn't just good compared to the rest of the Shinsengumi either. Anyone who meets Kondo instantly becomes charmed by his warm aura. But the children didn't seem convinced.
Wait, isn't that chief guy the dumb one?
Oh, that's so mean. What?
Yeah, I saw him taking a walk the other day. He was just grinning like an idiot. How's he in charge of anything? He's a wuss. At least the other guys look like they can handle themselves in a fight, you know?
Oh, that's not making him happy. I think there's more to being in charge than looking like you can fight. Was that really how Kondo looked to them?
The Shinsengumi are a bunch of losers because that guy's in charge.
Stop it! Stop being so mean! You don't understand! I took a step toward them, but Okita held out an arm and smiled to me.
Whoa there, Chizuru. Calm down, okay?
Who'd think he'd be the level-headed one between us?
They're only kids. You don't need to get mad.
But...
Forget about her. Let's get back to playing.
Okay.
Okita? He didn't even seem to have heard me. He walked over to the children with a smile.
So, what do you want to do? Want me to lift you up?
Yeah, okay. You're pretty tall.
Yes, I am. Really comes in handy sometimes.
He grabbed the child. Oh, look how happy he looks.
Oopsie daisy.
Whee!
Okita grunted with effort and lifted the child up over his head. I had mixed feelings.
Isn't this fun? Being up high really gives you a new perspective, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
Please be careful with him. How long was he planning to leave him up there? It was starting to feel like quite a while.
Hey, Souji, you can let him down now.
Oh, come on now. No need to be shy. I loved getting picked up like this when I was a kid.
Oh, he's crying now. I saw a realization dawn on the child's face, and excitement quickly turned to fear.
Ah!
Happy enough to cry, huh?
His voice was cold. Oh, he's gone dark. Okita wasn't smiling anymore.
Let me down.
I blinked. Why was I just watching? Stop that! He's just a child.
Stop what? She's there, we're just playing.
That's not what it looks like.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
What are you apologizing for? I was taught you're supposed to say thank you when somebody does something nice for you.
Okita, you're scaring him.
We're really sorry, Souji. We were wrong. I promise I won't ever say anything bad about the Shinsengumi ever again. Please, just let me go.
Reluctantly, Okita lowered the boy back down. I tried my best to calm him down, and then quickly sent all the children back home before Okita changed his mind.
And forced them to play something else with them?
I thought you said they were your friends. If that's true, you really shouldn't be bullying them like that.
Yeah, well, they made fun of Kondo.
Oh, you're just as childish as they are.
I don't know what they're talking about. Those kids had no right to say that stuff.
So Hijikata is fair game, but he draws the line at Kondo? I guess that shows just how much Okita cares about him.
Why are you laughing?
What? Oh, nothing. No reason. I mean, Kondo really is a wonderful man.
Yeah.
He smiled widely and nodded vigorously. He's like a child who totally admires his father.
I was pretty happy when you got mad, you know.
I was confused about how to respond to his pleased look. I hope you can make up with him soon. I mean, they did apologize eventually. I don't think they're really bad kids.
I know. I'll tell them I'm sorry. If they ever come around again. Then I'll tell them how awesome Kondo is.
I smiled back at him. It cut both ways, but I admired Okita's honesty. The situation had been resolved more or less, but as I began to relax, I suddenly remembered. Oh, we're late for dinner. Come on, we have to hurry. They're probably all angry at us. Okita just laughed.
Don't worry about it. If you get in trouble, I'll back you up. I owe you one.
Okita enjoys teasing me and, well, everyone, and sometimes he can be really irritating. He's not a bad person. Sometimes in his own way, he's even nice. Seeing how much he cared about Kondo made him less intimidating. I was lost in thought and fell behind, so I hurried up after Okita and headed toward the main hall. Is that the end of our scene? I think so, yep. First we investigate. This time the Nambu house for the first time. Once I was quite sure everyone in the Yagi house was asleep, I made my move. So far so good. Quickly, I was able to get to the entrance without anything happening, and I sighed with relief.
What's so good so far?
Once again, failed ninja. The surprise of seeing someone froze me.
Aren't you a little bold one, huh? Trying to run away behind our backs?
Okita. Well, I'm not...
Are you sure about that? You are literally in front of me, sneaking around at night. How can I not assume you're escaping?
'Cause I would be at the front gate if that was the case? Look, well, it's not like that. How was I supposed to explain to him? The more I panicked, the more I choked up.
Huh. I'm messing with you. I mean, unless you were escaping, then I'll slit your throat. I mean, how the hell could you possibly survive all by yourself out there anyway?
You're right. He was right. Even if somehow I managed to escape the Shinsengumi, I would lose my best chance at finding my father.
Well, whatever you're doing, knock it off. Kids shouldn't play around in the middle of the night. You don't want to get yourself killed because of something you didn't do, right?
Yeah. Maybe Okita was right, that it was reckless of me to investigate the serum, and thoughts swirled in my head before Okita spoke up again.
Well, if you see something scary, just make sure you scream right away, alright? Don't try and deal with it yourself, okay? You understand what I'm saying?
Huh? Are you foreshadowing? He'd sounded rather serious for a moment. What do you mean by something scary? What could I run into in the Shinsengumi's headquarters that could be as scary as he thinks? We didn't quite know about Furies at this point. He looked almost surprised for a moment, his face breaking into a wry grin.
Oh, you know, like a nightmare or a ghost or something. Or hey, who knows? You might run into our commander, the demon.
And you'd help me against him? That does sound scary. If Hijikata found out I was walking around the compound without permission... I'm gonna go back to my room now. That's motivation.
Good girl. It's wisest to go to sleep. I'll just go finish patrolling the inner courtyard then.
Okita started to hum as he walked away. I didn't expect to be found, especially by Okita of all people. There was no way I could sneak into the Nambu house behind his back. Maybe I could investigate the Yagi house before going back to my room. Wait. I was so surprised I hadn't stopped to think. Why was Okita up so late? It was as if he expected someone to leave the Yagi house, but there's no way he could have known I would try. If not me, then who? We know, but the patrol didn't do him any good. So we have to... scream! As Okita said, to bring him. It was then, in that moment of helplessness, that I remembered Okita's words.
Well, if you see something scary, just make sure you scream right away, alright?
I'm doing it right now! Of course! I could never know what Sanin felt, but another man devoted to the sword might. I screamed as loud as my lungs allowed, my voice echoing down the halls and across the courtyards of the compound. Okita! And skipping, because it's the same thing we've seen in all the other routes. Well, the other routes that we went through with Sanin. Oh, and I'll go ahead and end the video here, because I think that should be it for our first one, I think. Hope we didn't end up shorting it. So, hope to see you in the next episode to continue on with Okita here. And I'd appreciate any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.